Welcome to Gaming Instincts. Today, I'll be reviewing Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny Remastered for the PC. Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny is the sequel to Onimusha Warlords, which was originally released on January 7, 2001. The sequel itself launched in North America on August 27, 2002. Fast forward to today, and we're just days away from the release of the remaster, which officially drops on May 23rd, 2025. God, I feel old. For those unfamiliar, Onimusha is a classic Capcom franchise from the early 2000s. It was their take on feudal Japan, blending real-life historical figures like Oda Nobunaga with demonic Japanese folklore, including yokai and other supernatural threats. This marked the beginning of what many consider Capcom's golden age during the PlayStation 2 era. Of course, that momentum didn't last. Capcom fell off hard during the PS3 generation, struggling with its identity and losing a lot of fan trust. But by the tail end of the PS4 era, they began to turn things around, and today they're stronger than ever and once again a major force in the gaming industry. So how did Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny age after all these years in this remaster? Let's find out. Quick disclaimer, this is a PC version of the game and I've played through it on a hard difficulty setting. Also, a massive thanks to Capcom for providing an early review copy for the purpose of this video. I'm here to answer all of your burning questions in this full in-depth review. Be sure to stick around for the entire video to catch my final score, rated on a 10-point scale. Here at Gaming Instincts, our reviews are always honest and unbiased, and we break them down into storyline, gameplay, graphics and art style, audio, performance, and of course, a final conclusion with a final verdict. If you're looking for the latest video game reviews and the hottest trending gaming industry news and cannot stand trash vocast websites like Kotaku, IGN, Polygon, or PC Gamer, then make sure to visit our website over at www.gaminginstincts.com, by gamers for gamers, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Without further ado, let's begin. First, let's quickly go over the game's storyline. No major spoilers here. This time around, you play as Jubei, a new protagonist. In the previous game, Onimusha Warlords, you played as Samanosuke Akechi, a samurai on a mission to rescue Princess Yuki from the evil Genma forces. That character was loosely inspired by the historical Japanese figure Akechi Hidemitsu. After the events of the first game, the second game's plot begins to take shape. Oda Nobunaga, who is also a real historical figure from ancient Japanese history, takes control of the Genma forces, and the demonic invasions begin once again. That's pretty much the gist of it. Going any further would risk spoiling the story. Of course, those who have already played it may not mind, but I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who have never heard of, seen, or played the Onimusha series before. For that reason, I'll let you discover the rest on your own. I do want to make one thing very clear. This is not a remake on the same level as Resident Evil 2, 3, or 4 remakes that Capcom has been leaning on in recent years. Unfortunately, this is just a remaster of the original titles. So if you're expecting fully rebuilt visuals, overhauled combat mechanics, or a completely new engine, this is not that. This is a very basic remaster that primarily focuses on higher resolution, improved frame rate performance, auto-saving, and a few additional features. These include modernized controls alongside the original tank style movement, as well as the ability to switch weapons on the fly without needing to pause the game like in the original version. Capcom has also added an easy mode for players who want to breeze through the game with minimal challenge and simply enjoy the story from the beginning to the end. But don't worry, Hell mode has also been introduced and it is completely new to this release. In Hell mode, getting hit even once results in instant death, offering a serious challenge for hardcore players. There's also a new gallery mode where players can view over 100 character sketches by the game's designer Keita Mania and listen to the original soundtrack. Lastly, minigames such as The Man in Black, Timoni, and Puzzle Phantom Realm are available from the start if you want to jump into them right away. While I think these additions are all welcome and decent for a remaster after so many years, what strikes me as incredibly odd is Capcom's decision not to release a native PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X and S versions of the game. Instead, the remaster is launching on PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC via Steam. Yes, I am fully aware that PS4 games can be played on the PS5 and Xbox One titles are compatible with Xbox Series X and S consoles via forward compatibility, or backwards compatibility rather. But the absence of a true current gen version in the year 2025 is baffling and feels like a missed opportunity. I love Capcom to death these days, but choices like this genuinely make me question their decision-making process. Why not take advantage of modern hardware and offer a native 120 FPS option or other visual enhancements? It just doesn't make sense. Capcom, you're about to release a brand new next-generation Onimusha game in 2026 titled Onimusha Way of the Sword. So why are your remasters still being built to run on decade-old hardware from 2013? Why not use this opportunity to showcase your legacy titles on the latest platforms? If there's a solid reason behind this, I'd love to be enlightened. Maybe someone in the comments who's smarter than me can explain this goofy-ass decision. Now Now that we've covered the plot setup and the key differences between the original 2002 release and today's remaster, let's dive into the gameplay and take a closer look at how the game actually plays for those who have never played it before. More importantly, we'll explore whether this remaster is worth your time and money to revisit or experience for the first time a retro PS2 Capcom classic. If you've previously played any of the early Resident Evil titles or the original Devil May Cry, then you'll be familiar with Capcom's classic approach to action game design. The environments are pre-rendered and the camera shifts angles as you move through each area to reveal different parts of the zone. Typically, there's a brief loading screen every time you enter a new location through a door or something like that. This was how Capcom immersed players in the in-game worlds back in the day, and for its time, it was acceptable and did its job. Of course, modern games now render environments in real time as your character moves through the world, and transitions between areas are seamless with no loading screens when entering new rooms or passing through doors. If you've never played an old-school Capcom title, the constant camera angle shifts might feel a bit jarring. In that case, this style may not be for you. However, if you approach it with an open mind and are willing to embrace the retro PS2 era of Capcom game design, you may find it a charming throwback. It does take some time to adjust, especially if you're already used to the smoother, more dynamic presentation of modern games. Many elements from other Capcom franchises like Devil May Cry and Resident Evil also carry over into Onimusha. You'll explore various areas, collect treasures, gather healing items such as herbs and medicines, and solve puzzles, often by finding key items to place on doors or pedestals, in order to unlock new passages and progress through the game. Where these games differ most is their setting, theme, and combat mechanics. In Resident Evil, you fight to survive using third-person shooting mechanics. In Devil May Cry, you engage in fast-paced style hack-and-slash combat with swords and dual pistols against demonic enemies. Onimusha, on the other hand, takes a slower, more methodical samurai approach, emphasizing melee combat with a variety of elemental weapons combined with a blocking, charging, and parrying system. Just like in the previous games, Jubei wields a special gauntlet that allows him to absorb orbs from defeated enemies. There are 4 different types of orbs: yellow, blue, red, and purple. Yellow orbs restore your health, while blue replenish your magic meter, which powers your special attacks. Purple orbs fill a unique gauge that, once full, lets you transform into an Onimusha by pressing L2 and R2 simultaneously. Lastly, red orbs are used to upgrade your weapons up to a maximum of 3 levels at shrines, which also serve as save points. This game also introduces a unique friendship gifting system. Throughout the game, Jubei will encounter several new characters, and the game allows you to find or purchase various items to gift them. Doing so increases your friendship level with each character. For example, AK Ankokuji, if you give him alcohol, your bond with him will grow, and he will often reward you with useful items in return. As your relationship deepens, you may unlock character-specific side quests that allow you to play as them. In boss battles, they might also show up to assist Jubei as AI-controlled allies if he is having trouble or is being beaten up badly. During my playthrough, I unlocked Kotaro, a ninja with the ability to turn invisible and strike enemies while unseen for a limited time. Kotaro appreciates trinkets, so I give him plenty to earn his trust and friendship. It's an interesting system that adds a welcome layer of depth to the gameplay and world building that the previous game didn't have. That said, it's entirely optional. You can complete the main game without participating in it. Additionally, some characters have rivalries, so if you favor one with gifts more than another, their rival may become upset with you. If you enjoyed the gameplay in Onimusha Warlords, then you'll feel right at home with its sequel. The combat in Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny is slightly more refined, and there's a greater variety of weapons to wield. The game also offers a more open structure when it comes to exploration, whereas the original was a much more linear experience. The friendship system is arguably the most significant new addition in this entry, adding a layer of replay value. If you want to experience everything in the game it has to offer, including all of the character-specific side quests, you'll need to play through it multiple times and build relationships with different allies along the way. There are no other major gameplay changes here, and that should come as no surprise, except for the addition of an easy difficulty setting and a brand new health difficulty that I mentioned previously, where taking a single hit will result in an instant death. It's important to remember that this is a remaster and not a full-on remake on the scale of Resident Evil 2 or any of the more recent Resident Evil remakes. Before we dive into the final verdict, let's quickly discuss the game's visuals, presentation, and soundtrack. Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny Remastered is easily the best way to relive the original experience. The visuals are noticeably sharper with higher resolution, improved image quality, and better frame rate performance. The CGI cutscenes also look much clearer this time around and are far less blurry than before. However, as previously mentioned, it's still puzzling why there are no native versions for Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5. At this point, the most likely explanation is that the original remaster of Onimusha Warlords launched on Xbox One and PS4 a year before the new consoles were released. Capcom may have wanted to ensure that players who experienced the first remaster on last-gen hardware could continue the series on the same systems without needing to upgrade to new hardware. I suppose if you look at it from a certain perspective, it makes sense that Capcom wanted to save on development time and cost, especially since both of these games are simply remasters rather than full-fledged remakes. However, when you consider that Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 remakes all received native versions for the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S, and those were rebuilt from the ground up as cross-generational titles, it makes the lack of native current-gen support for Onimusha 1 and 2 remastered all the more baffling. It is a major missed opportunity in my opinion. They could have easily offered 120 FPS and 84K resolution support for modern consoles. The Steam PC version, which is the one I'm reviewing here, does support 3080/40 by 2160 resolution, which is true 4K native. However, Capcom has not specified the resolution for the PS4 or Xbox One versions. These versions are also playable on Xbox Series X and S and PS5 consoles through backwards compatibility, but Capcom did not specify whether there are any performance enhancements on the newer hardware. On a more positive note, you can switch between a 16:9 aspect ratio and the classic 4:3 format if you want that nostalgic old school look and feel. Last but not least, fans can also view official Capcom sketches in the special features gallery menu. If you ever been curious about how the world of Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny looked during the concept phase, this is your chance to see it brought to life on paper. As for the soundtrack, players can enjoy the original music from the 2002 release, composed by Taro Iwashiro, Hideki Okugawa, and Toshikiyo Uriyama. It is fully accessible through the gallery menu. The soundtrack of Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny has always been a standout, and that remains true in this remastered version. One of my favorite tracks comes from the Merchant Town and the inn areas. Let's take a quick listen to those two now. Meanwhile, the sound effects hold up fairly well. However, the same cannot be said for the voice acting. Like many older Capcom titles, the voice work in Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny falls squarely into the so bad it's good category. While voice acting in modern games has become a key element of storytelling and immersion, this remaster retains the original performance, complete with cheesy, awkward delivery and hilariously bad dialogue.
Cheat! Coward! You are too old-fashioned. You arrogant fool! Stop this! Eke Ankakuji is an honorable man, famous with the spear of the Hazoin. Magoichi Saiga is also an honorable man, and is a chief of the Kishu Saiga gun team. But it is dishonorable to fight over such trifle things.
If you're a returning fan, you'll likely find it amusing and nostalgic, but if you're new to the series and expecting high quality performances, then I will simply laugh at you. Now that we've covered everything, it's time for my final verdict on Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny Remastered. Overall, it is a decent remaster, and fans looking to relive the original experience will be satisfied for the most part. The addition of health difficulty is a welcome challenge for die-hard players who want to truly master the game. The autosave features a huge quality of life improvement, along with modernized controls and the ability to switch weapons in real time, as you would expect in a modern action game. The upgraded resolution, smoother frame rate, and sharper image quality are great additions. However, the lack of native versions for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S remains a really weird and stupid omission. Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny Remastered receives a final score of 7 out of 10. It is a good remaster, but it could have been a great one had it taken full advantage of current generation hardware. Overall, it's a faithful remaster that longtime fans will likely appreciate. However, newcomers might be put off by its pre-rendered environments, frequent camera angle changes, overly cheesy and bad voice acting, and a combat system that clearly shows its age when compared to more modern titles such as Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Assassin's Creed Shadows, or Ghost of Tsushima. This is a game best approached with an open mind and a willingness to experience a retro Capcom title from a very different era in game design.